Hi Dollar Divas, welcome to Behind the Vanity. I'm Jessica. So today's video is another Chatty Get Ready With Me, kind of part of my Makeup and Celebrity Sunday series now, I guess. So I thought today we would talk about the queen of rock and roll, Miss Tina Turner. She did just have a documentary go up on HBO Max last night, and I unfortunately cannot see it because I do not have HBO Max, but I thought this would be a good time to talk about her and just, I've always, of course, have known about Tina Turner and all that kind of thing, and realized I knew very little about her life. And as a singer and a performer especially, I was like, I need to know more about her, so I just decided to do a little bit of research on my own. And she has had an amazing career. And so really like 3 careers in one. Just an amazing life, amazing career, and just an amazing woman, just a very empowering woman. So I thought it would be fun. So yeah, we're gonna create this kind of crazy look. So if you wanna chit chat about the queen of rock and roll, as well as see how I got this makeup look, definitely keep on watching. So with brow products, in my makeup basket, I have the Believe Beauty Brow Defining Pencil, but I'm having trouble sharpening it. So I'm gonna go ahead and use the LA Colors Brow Pencil. You know I love this. So Tina Turner was actually born, Anna Mae Bullock was her real name, and she was born on November 26, 1939, which that just seems like so long ago. So I guess that makes her like 82 years old, which is crazy, just absolutely crazy to me. She still literally looks amazing. So yeah, that's just crazy to me. I saw that, I was like, there's no way she was born in 39. I mean, doesn't that seem crazy? But anyway, so she was born Anna Mae Bullock, and she was born in Nutbush, Tennessee, which I live in Tennessee. I don't know how close I live to Nutbush, but I've never heard of it other than now and learning about Tina Turner. I'm sure it's probably a small town, I would imagine, but yep, she is from Nutbush, Tennessee. Her parents' names were Floyd and Zelma, and they were apparently sharecroppers. And I've heard conflicting reports on whether or not they were poor or not really poor, but they were sharecroppers. So her parents left when her and her sister were little, and so they lived with the grandmother for a period of time, which is just crazy. I don't really know the circumstances surrounding that, other than the fact that I do know Tina had a complicated relationship with her mother. Apparently she wasn't wanted. She was an unwanted child. Now I don't know why they would have left the sister as well. I mean, I guess they just weren't made to have kids. I mean, I don't really know. That just sounds crazy to me, but that is what happened. So they went to go live with the grandmother. So they were left to be raised by the grandmother. And when the grandmother passed away, they then moved to St. Louis to be closer to the mom. So I'm gonna clean up my brows with my L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear. This is a brand new one. All these products are in my makeup basket, by the way. And yeah, I just opened up a new one of these after using my other one forever. This one's a lot lighter than my other shade. So, she met Ike Turner, or, the infamous Ike Turner, when she was like 17 years old. I mean, I did not realize that she was that young, but she was about 17 years old. She kind of fled, being around her mom. So she was like out on her own really young. So yep, this is when she met Ike, and he was about 8 years older than her. I think he was born in 1931, which I wouldn't have been surprised if he was even older than that. But I guess she was 17, that would have made him like 25, which, So there was like a big R&B music scene in St. Louis, and I don't know if it's St. Louis or St. Louis. I guess you could say both, but anyway. So yeah, there's a big R&B scene there, and she met Ike. He was playing with a group called the Kings of Rhythm, and he played at a place called Club Manhattan. So she kind of happened on there and pretty much joined the band. I guess it's just as simple as that, So I'm gonna put some more on my eyelids. So when she joined the band, it was like a success. She was very successful in the band. They really liked her, and she did good and was a hit in the R&B scene. She just did really well. So I guess around 1960, somebody didn't show up, and so it caused her to have to sing lead on a song. I guess the song's name was A Fool in Love, and it was sent to a New York radio station. That's why you always gotta be ready. You just always gotta be ready. So I'm gonna get a little crazy today with my eye makeup. I think I'm gonna use my Riviera palette and my Copacetic Cosmetics Companion palette. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna do something really fun today. I'm feeling it. I'm kind of feeling pink and like green again, but like iridescent, like something kind of iridescent and pretty. Maybe something kind of spring-esque. I don't know, we'll see. We'll just see what we come up with, as always. Usually when I have a look in my mind, it never really turns out exactly the way I envision it anyway, so sometimes it's just better to be surprised. So that song ended up being, after it was sent to the radio station, somehow it got very, very popular, not just in R&B, but it actually crossed over. And when you're a performer, like when you cross over, like that's what I used to like when I was a teenager. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a crossover artist. It, like, because that's like where all like your success was, you know what I mean? Like anytime you could cross over into like multiple genres. So that's what this did. It crossed over, and I guess it just became kind of a hit. So then they went on a tour, and it was called the Ike and Tina Review. And of course, you know, this led to more songs being made. And really, they were really known kind of for a while, like for a long period of time in their career, for their stage shows more than anything. I mean, they recorded music and they were hits, you know what I mean? And they were popular, but they were apparently just more known for their stage shows and their live performances. I mean, even all the way up through like Proud Mary and stuff, which is crazy to me. So that's kind of what they did. They had this review show and they toured. So her and Ike married. I don't know what year it was, but they got married in Tijuana, Mexico. So Ike and Tina, they had a son. Ike had 2 children from a previous relationship, and Tina actually had a son a couple years prior with actually the saxophonist from the Kings of Rhythm. The saxophonist's name was Raymond Hill, and that son's name was Craig Raymond Turner, because he was actually adopted by Ike after they got married. So, but that first son was adopted by Ike, and then they had a son together. And then, like I said, Ike had 2 children previously. And actually, that first son, Craig, actually in 2018 died from an apparent suicide, which is just terrible, just so sad. Okay, so I get this kind of pinkish laid down. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go with the shade Jessica. It's kind of like a iridescent, it's got like a green sheen to it. That's kind of like the shade that really stands out to me. It's like probably one of my favorite ones so far in the palette. And I might kind of make this like a halo eye. Actually, I think I'm gonna take this to the center. So I'm just gonna kind of put this in the first half of my lid. I feel like this is very similar to the look I did like a week or 2 ago, but I will do my best to make it a little bit different. I'm just kind of in a vibe lately with like pink and green of different types of shades and textures. So she recorded the song River Deep Mountain High in 1966 with Phil Spector, which of course Phil Spector is a whole thing in and of himself, you know what I mean? With that whole murder trial and all that just crazy, all the craziness that surrounded Phil Spector. And that track became really huge in England, not so much here. Here she was still very much known for the stage shows, you know what I mean? It was just, it's kind of an odd thing. I don't think there's a lot of people in the music business like her that was really true for. You know, a lot of times it starts with the recordings, you know what I mean? Now later on, Phil Spector criticized Tina. It was around the time of Ike's funeral when he passed away, that, and I guess the only reason I can imagine is that he must have just been closer to Ike than he was to Tina. But he criticized her and just said, you know, Ike made her the star she was. And there, at the club that night, there were 5 Tina Turners. There were 5 people that could have been just as big a star. And, you know, I'm sure that cut really hard, you know what I mean? Because I think there's a lot of people that credit Ike for her career, and in a way Tina did too. I mean, yeah, I mean obviously he helped her, but she also kind of had to have what it takes, you know, and everyone's journey is different, so I'm sure that really hurt. But then she also went on to write a book or an autobiography, and I'll get a little bit more into that later, but she did write an autobiography called I, Tina, and Phil kind of criticized that as well, saying that she, you know, made Ike out to be a villain, you know what I mean? Which I'm sure Ike had a story too, but, you know, he was very abusive and all that kind of stuff too. So, you know, it was her side of the story and she wanted to tell it, you know what I mean? And so apparently he was like, the only reason it was a success was because she made him out to be a villain. And then Oprah got on board and also made him a villain. And so then it was like a bestseller. And so, you know, that's tough. You know, that's tough when you work hard and people criticize your success, you know what I mean? Okay, I'm gonna go back into the Riviera palette. I think I might use some purple. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go into this purple. I use this shade like all the time, the shade Cans. That first shade I went into, I don't know if I showed you, it was Monte Carlo. I kind of wanted a softer pink. I didn't want something so neon. So in 1969, Tina went on tour with the Rolling Stones, which is super cool. Like, so she was opening for the Rolling Stones now. Ooh, I'm gonna like this. This was a good choice. So in 1971, she won her first Grammy with Proud Mary, which of course was originally a Creedence Clearwater Revival song. So it was a cover, and she really made it her own. You know, we all know what she did with Proud Mary. Again, it was even a bigger stage production with the dancers and just the mood and the feel and all that good stuff. But yeah, it won her first Grammy. And then she went on to be in her first film called Tommy, where she played Acid Queen. And I don't know anything about this movie, but I'm sure a lot of you do. But yep, she was in her first movie at this period, around this time. I think I want to bring a little bit of this kind of up. Yes, I am liking this vibe. I am liking this vibe. Now, during this whole time, Ike was incredibly abusive to Tina. You know, he had substance abuse issues and, you know, drugs and alcohol. And he just had an overall rough kind of a life, you know what I mean? Just, he had issues, you know, and Tina was very loyal, you know what I mean? She was very loyal. She promised that she would stay. I mean, you know, she was just really trying to be loyal until she couldn't take it anymore, till it just got to be too much. But, you know, she had a sense of loyalty to Ike. You know, she realized that he did help her, you know what I mean? So finally in the mid-70s, they separated, both professionally and personally. I guess, you know, someone like that, they couldn't even just try to stay on together professionally. It would have been too dangerous, you know what I mean? So now I'm gonna add some mascara. Of course, we're never done with the eyes at this point. I'm just gonna put on my lashes and my liner, and you know how I do it. And I've just got the Wet n Wild Mega Wear. It's in my makeup basket. This is from the Dollar Tree. So when she left Ike, it was apparently at a hotel in Texas. It was the Statler Hilton in Texas, from what I understand. And they had just had a fight, and this was kind of the first time she started fighting back. Like, she was getting to be done, you know what I mean? So he was sleeping, and she saw her opportunity to leave, and she did. And apparently, and this is according to Tina from, I guess, a book or something, that she left the hotel at night on foot and ended up like literally walking the highway. I mean, incredibly dangerous. I mean, gotten to be like such a big star and all that kind of thing. I mean, it's dangerous for anybody, but gosh, you know, it just seems so crazy to get so desperate, you know? And apparently she only had a mobile card and 36 cents to her name at that point. But she was done, you know what I mean? She was done. She couldn't stay anymore. I'm not gonna add liquid liner. I think I'm just gonna line my waterline and stuff a little bit later. So we're gonna move on to lashes. So along with the physical abuse and I'm sure mental abuse and all the substance abuse, he also, you know, he cheated many times and all that kind of stuff. So she was done. So she now had to provide for her kids, you know, and apparently she cleaned houses. She, you know, used food stamps. She just did what she could. And during this time, her career was kind of slowing down just a little bit. Like, she was still performing at like small venues and doing some like random like art, like collabs with other artists and things like that. But nothing major. She just was, I guess, just trying to get her life kind of together, you know, during this time. So the lashes I'm going to be wearing are these Lovesick lashes from the brand Diamond. And these are from the Dollar Tree. I wore them last night, so I didn't put them back in the package after I was done wearing them. So in the 80s, she did an Al Green cover, Let's Stay Together. She covered that song. So in the 80s, she came out with the album Private Dancer. And this is now all like the post-Ike stuff. And this is the album that What's Love Got to Do With It was on. You know, of course, huge song. And so a #1 hit song, just huge, you know what I mean? So with that, she won 4 Grammys and she sold like 20 million copies worldwide. So now she was really starting to get like some real like major success in the recording end of the music business, you know what I mean? So the title track of the album, Private Dancer, and one other song, they did really well too. They were top 10 hits, you know, they made it to the top 10. So she was in the movie Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome with Mel Gibson, and that's where the song We Don't Need Another Hero comes in. She recorded that song for that movie, and of course it was a hit, you know? So it was kind of around this time or a bit after that the movie What's Love Got to Do With It with Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne playing Ike came out, and apparently it was adapted from her autobiography, I, Tina. And that is, I'm embarrassed to say that as a singer and a lover of music, that I have not seen it. It's just, I've been trying to see it for years. I think we're gonna finally rent it I love a biopic. I love biopics, and that I know is an amazing one. And so I'm gonna try to see it here soon. It is #1 on my list of like movies to see, is What's Love Got to Do with It. I mean, if there is just not absolute perfection in both Tina Turner and Angela Bassett, then I don't know. So I've got to see that movie because it's just, I love a biopic, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna be seeing that really soon, but I know it's amazing. So for that movie, she re-recorded some of her classics as well as the hit song, I Don't Wanna Fight. So that came out around that time. Alrighty, I'm liking this. I'm really, really liking this. Okay, we're gonna move on to the face, and of course finish up the eyes and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna be using the Believe Beauty foundation, and this is absolutely my favorite foundation. Hands down, it is so good. Every time I don't use it and I come back to it, I forget just how good it is. I wear the shade Soft Beige. And I'm gonna use this Sassy Chic blending sponge from the Dollar Tree. So the song I Don't Wanna Fight went double platinum, which again, she's really seeing success now with her recordings and her music and all that kind of stuff, like major success. And of course, she's still amazing on stage. So she's got a lot, you know, she just had so much going for her, you know what I mean? But also too, we kind of know Tina, you know, Tina has this signature style, and around this time she was in her 40s and she was wearing the short skirts, she had them great legs, she had that signature kind of punk hairstyle, very Tina Turner signature, and she was just an icon in women's empowerment. And really at that time, I mean, that was like an amazing thing to be in your 40s and still and portraying just this like powerful goddess on the stage, you know what I mean? And I mean, she just was just amazing, you know? So that was really just a cool thing, you know what I mean? But yeah, the album Private Dancer was actually her first, I believe her first solo album after Ike, you know, which, you know, Tina's one of those people, she's really had like 3 careers, you know what I mean? She's really, you know, you have the Ike part of her career, and then you have, you know, and then she went through this hard time, and then she has just this, then her just career just is huge just on her own, and then, you know, and then you get older and you kind of rediscover a new way, and she does all of that, you know what I mean? So in 1986 she did her second album, and it was a success as well. It was the album For an Affair, and that's where the song The Best comes from. This was in 1989. So to backtrack, which I guess now of course would have been before the movie and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so now I'm gonna put on concealer. I've got the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Invisible Cover Concealer. This is something I've had for a while. It's in my makeup basket. Trying to use it up. I've had it for a while. I wear the shade Y31. So of course, so her success really did continue into the 90s with the album Wildest Dream, which I'm not really familiar with. I'm sure I've heard songs from it, but around this time she started doing a lot of like movie soundtrack stuff. So she did them for like James Bond and Lion King 2. And then in 2008 she went on tour, and it was actually her 50th anniversary tour for 50 years in the business. That is just crazy. I mean, again, she is just someone that really just kept going and going. And like I said, I can't believe she's in her 80s now. But she did announce it would be her final tour. And it was one of the largest ticketed shows of 2008, 2009. So a major success. Now, of course, she would still do like occasional appearances and things like that. But as far as like touring, I guess after 50 years in the business, you're done. You don't want to do it anymore. You want to rest, relax, you know, except, you know, sometimes getting out there and doing some stuff, you know what I mean? So in 2013, she remarried, and it was to her longtime boyfriend, and his name is Erwin Bach, and they're still married to this day, and he's like, I think like 15 or 16 years younger than her, so, which of course, you know what I mean? You know, so they have a great relationship and all that kind of stuff, so good for her, you know what I mean? And also that same year, 2013, she was on the cover of Dutch Vogue, which is super cool. So I'm gonna put on some bronzer. This is the Nomad Kiss of Sun Bronze and Contour Powder in Manly Beach. But it was around this time she kind of started like discovering like spirituality and just kind of, you know, just finding things that bring her peace and joy. And one of those things was Buddhism. And so around this time she kind of started collaborating and making albums with like people that made like, you know, music like that, you know? I'm gonna probably mess up this name, but there's a spiritual musician named Regula Curtis, and there was some others, and they released an album together. It was called Beyond Buddhist and Christian Prayers, and apparently it was just everyone just singing prayers, you know what I mean? It just, you know, and Tina found great comfort in that, you know what I mean? I guess at this point you really can after you've achieved a certain amount of success, you know, you just do what you want to. You do what makes you happy. You know what I mean? And she had lived just such a hard life. You know what I mean? She actually revealed at some point that, you know, she just had this obviously very complicated relationship with her mother. She never felt loved by her mother, and come to find out, she wasn't loved by her mother. She was an unwanted child, you know, and her mother just like admitted all this to her, you know, so her mother never loved her, and she always knew it. You know what I mean? So for blush, I'm gonna use the Tarte Amazonian Clay blush. This is in Party Dress. So along with that one Christian kind of prayer album, she also came up with another one called Love Within. And like I said, they were just like singing prayers, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna add some powder and highlighter, and I have been loving the Essence Brighten Up Banana Powder. I've loved this. I've been using it for a little bit of like a light, like a contour on my jaw and to kind of brighten up under my eyes, which who can't use that? So for highlighter, I'm gonna use the LA Colors highlighter in Glow Time. So in 2018, of course, this was the same year that her first son, apparently committed suicide. He was found with a self-inflicted gunshot wound, which is so unfortunate because I'm sure, I don't know, but I would imagine that, I don't know, I would imagine Tina did the best she could, you know, but for whatever reason, he was obviously struggling with something, you know, and it's just so sad. But in 2018, she was honored with the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award, which, you know, very, very well deserved. I mean, at this point, you know, was in the business for so long. She's so iconic. She's still, I mean, like I said, she still looks amazing at 82. I mean, it's just unbelievable. All right, we're gonna go back to the eyes. I think I'm gonna line underneath with like a combination of these two shades right here. The purple, the Monte Carlo in Cans. So, you know, all these stars, like a lot of these stars have like these names, you know, you're like Aretha, she's the queen of soul. You've got the king of rock and roll, you know, Elvis is the king of rock and roll. And then I think Michael Jackson's the king of pop. And then you have like your country ones too, where you have like Patsy Cline or Loretta Lynn or something like that. You have like the queen of country and all that kind of stuff. Well, Tina Turner is dubbed the queen of rock and roll, you know, and you know, and she is, man. You know, she really just kind of developed that signature, that really kind of punk hairstyle from like the 80s and the 90s, you know, and before that she kind of had this like long black hair and beautiful, you know, just absolutely beautiful. But, you know, sometimes you find your style and it's your signature, you know what I mean? And there's a lot to be said for that, you know. So I'm just gonna add some liner to my waterline. It's gonna be the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Pencil. This is in 0, it's just a black. So kind of a fun fact about Tina is that apparently, and I'm guessing this is probably when she was in high school, she played basketball. Apparently this was at Carver High School in Brownsville. And I don't know if that's Tennessee, if that was close by to where she lived, or if it was in St. Louis or what. So now we're gonna finish with the lips. And I think I'm gonna kind of go fun for this as well. So I'm gonna use my lip liner. This is the Shop Miss A Wonder Lip Liner. This is in Blogger. And then I'm gonna use my Too Faced Melted Matte, and then I'm gonna top it with a Lime Crime lip topper and just kind of see what happens. So Tina is also apparently the only female to have kind of Grammy nominations in pop, R&B, and rock and roll, which is, you know, I guess I never really thought about it. I mean, she's like a mega crossover. I mean, I guess I've never really thought about what genre of music she is, because she is kind of everything, you know what I mean? It's like, it's genreless, you know what I mean? I don't even know, that's not a word, but it's like there is no genre, you know what I mean? It just pretty amazing. I'm gonna top it with this here, and I'm gonna kind of see what this topper looks like on this. I have no idea, but we're just gonna see. This lip color is a little much for the eye look, but I'm hoping the lip topper will kind of, oddly enough, kind of bring it down, if that makes any sense at all. I'm sure it probably does not. So, okay, so here is the Lime Crime Diamond Crushers lip topper. This is in Over the Rainbow. I was really just taken by this packaging too. It's like the old school Too Faced with like the metallic pink. But I did find these at Marshall's some time ago. But according to the Guinness Book of World Records, this is gonna end up being a little much. Tina has sold more concert tickets than any other solo performer, which is amazing. Again, it comes right down to people wanting to see her live, because You know, she just always was an amazing performer, and then she came out with amazing hits, and you know, and just a force to be reckoned with, that's for sure. Man, that is much. That is much. But I'm gonna leave it. You know, I committed to it, so that is what's gonna stay. So I hope that you enjoyed just another Makeup and Celebrity Sunday. Chatty, get ready with me, honoring the queen of rock and roll. Like I said, I have not seen the documentary on HBO Max because I do not get HBO Max, but I did think it was a good time to talk about this amazing performer, this amazing lady, and just kind of show her some love at this time and use some products from my current makeup basket, have some fun playing with makeup as we do on this channel. So anyways, if you did enjoy this video, show me you did by hitting that like button. Also too, please share this video with anybody you think may enjoy it, your sisters, cousins, wives, daughters, friends, anybody that you think may enjoy it, share it with them. I will have my playlist of my other videos similar to this linked down below in the description box, as well as my Makeup Basket monthly playlist, all down in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.